bench. Herb Brooks, Craig Patrick, his assistant, the goaltenders, Craig and here we go. The United States in blue, Finland in white, the gold medal at stake for the U.S. Mark Johnson, number 10, with a couple of goals against the Soviets on Friday. Taken away by Swarnemi and cleared into the American end. Ken Morrow, who's done a masterful job throughout the tournament, losing it in his own zone, but getting it back. Ken from Bowling Green. Mike Ramsey up ahead to Davy Silk. Silk dumping the puck into the Finland end. Johnson going in after it. Centering pass out in front, but Silk couldn't get his stick on it and cleared all the way back.
The U.S. is looking for a good start. They have not had a good start in really any of the games that they've played. They've been very nervous. The Finns will likely fly from the beginning. They've got to have a good start.
McClanahan centering pass taken away by Porvari. He's their captain, number 25, probably their best overall player. And the Finns are offside as they cross the blue line. So 50 seconds into the game, the United States and Finland, no score.
You mentioned Porvari. He is a critical player for the Finns. He scored 2 beautiful goals against the Soviets. Another goal against the Swedes the other night. Because to a left winger, Lipponen, Porvari will see double action for the Finns tonight.
Steve Kристофф, number 11, over to Bill Baker. Baker losing it at the blue line. The linesman going down as they pin it against the boards for a face-off, and 18:56 remaining in the first period. The United States, you can see there how they have come on in the second and third periods. Not only have they scored only 6 goals in the first periods of the preceding 6, they have given up 8.
They could have given up a lot more. Jim Craig has been very strong in the initial periods in every game except against West Germany.
The puck in the finish end. Cleared out along the boards, and Baker is back there at his own blue line. Over to Davy Christian. Of course, his dad is here, remembering 1960. Jack McCartan also looking on today. The goaltender, Vila's shot is wide. Baker along the boards up to Eruzione, and Mike is able to corner. Kристофф, had he gotten his stick on it, would have had a breakaway, but he couldn't. Shot coming in on Craig, an easy save for Jim as Ramsey starts out of his own end. Up ahead to Kристофф at the blue line. Kристофф skating into the Finland end and then losing the puck. Poke checked nicely by Koskinen. Kaskalaki, his slap shot is deflected by Morrow, and then Craig covers up for the faceoff.
I think we're going to see a lot of that from Jim Craig, especially early in the game. He wants to be sure the team is composed.
2.5 minutes into the game. Finland in white, in control. We're coming to you live as Peltonen skates in. Craig makes the save and covers up. First time that Jim has been tested today. And 2.5 minutes in, no score.
Well, Peltonen was at a fairly bad angle, but Craig came out nicely to block the angle. Here you can see him going wide. Craig is well positioned, makes the block on his chest, and falls on the rebound. The U.S. team is rather satisfied with this start. They haven't been overwhelming yet, but at the same time, they haven't shown they've shown in other games this early.
The Americans controlling the faceoff. Baker up ahead to Verkota. Back into the finish end. Haapalainen, number 6. Makitalo, 28. He's pressured by Verkota. Verkota centers, but only Haapalainen is there for the Finns. And back they come. Jari Kurri, number 17. 6 save by Craig. Davy Christian up with the puck. Christian tied up. Loose along the near boards as the United States tries to clear, but it's Jari Kurri keeping it in. And the slap shot off the pass on the deck as Baker comes back the other way. Up ahead, leading Wells too far, and the Finns clear the zone. Susi at center ice. Nice pass over to Kurri. Kurri's shot was deflected, and Craig able to make the save.
It was a much more difficult save than it looked as it deflected off Baker.
Wells with a slap shot. Blocked out in front by Litma, number 10. And Litma clears it into the seats. So 16:33 now remaining in the first period.
I think that one thing that we should say right at the beginning is that this game, while it means so much to the U.S. team, it means the same to Finland. Finland has never won a medal in the Olympics. They've come very close a couple of times, finishing in 4th place, losing on goal differential. And this is their best opportunity.
And don't sell Finland short. We had a chance to see them in the Izvestia tournament in December in Moscow. They were the surprise of that tournament. Here, remember the other day, they came within 5 minutes of beating the Soviet Union. They actually led 2-1 when the Soviets scored 3 goals in less than a minute and a half to win the game 4-2. Davy Silk, tomorrow shot in from the point, off the shoulder of the Finnish defenseman. As Silk scraps for it along the side. Back out it comes tomorrow. Kenny keeps it in over the blue line. Skating in, backhander, and that's Valtonen's first save. Craig has already made 5 saves, and that's the first for Valtonen. Johnson keeping it in, centering, but Silk fans on the shot. Then Ramsey's shot is deflected wide. The Finns clearing to center ice. Kemalainen shooting it in back of the goal. No score. 15:53 remaining in the first period. The United States, the gold medal with a win. If this game winds up in a tie, a lot of possibilities. If it looks like that's imminent, we'll get into it then. And the puck frozen against the boards for a face-off. The referee today is Vladimir Schubert. He's from Czechoslovakia. The linesman, Gary Holland of Canada, Nico Tolman of Holland.
Well, here's Ken Morrow's backhand shot. First save by Valtonen. Valtonen is known to be a very dependable goalie. He rarely has bad games, rarely has outstanding games, but is good and dependable.
Valtonen, 33 years old. Eruzione, but that's offside. The offside pass over 2 lines. And so the face-off at the inception of the pass, back in the American end. Mike Eruzione, out of Boston University, the captain of this team that has captured fancy. Bill Baker with that tying goal against Sweden, and the win over the Czechs, the emotional victory, and then of course, what more can you say about what happened Friday? Kристофф up ahead to Eruzione, and then his return pass taken away by Hopalainen, but it's Baker who controls now at his own blue line for the Americans. Baker to Kристофф. Kристофф tries to split the defense. Then the drop pass to Broughton to Eruzione. He skates in. The shot and a glove save. And I believe we've got a penalty coming up. We do. A penalty coming up on Finland.
Here we see Kристофф breaking through, but it comes back to Eruzione, who's checked, but he makes a shot and a good save by Valtonen.
So the penalty to number 21, Janu Koskinen. 2 minutes for hooking. The Americans with a power play opportunity. The Americans have scored 3 power play goals in the 6 games thus far. The U.S. 0-1 in the preliminary round, and then of course in the medal round defeating the Soviet Union the other night. Mark Johnson on the faceoff against Peltonen. McClanahan back to the point to Christian, to Johnson, back into McClanahan. It's Johnson there in the corner, brings it back out again. 1:47 left in the penalty. Johnson, centering pass, swept aside by Iloranta, number 9. Then Johnson gets it out in front, but Litma is there, and the Finns are able to clear. Peltonen, number 12, circling back as the Finns kill some time. 1.5 minutes remaining in the penalty to Koskinen.
The whistle there was for the puck striking a high stick and then going to a member of your own team. The Finnish player hit it, and it went over to Peltonen, and thus the whistle and the face-off. U.S. moving the puck around very well inside the Finland zone. Earlier in this tournament, they were moving around the periphery very well, but they were not penetrating. They weren't moving, but on that particular occasion, they were threatening well.
The chant again, the USA, USA, which has become literally part of this building. Johnson. And the Finns clearing again. So Finland effectively eradicating the first 50 seconds of the penalty. Again on the power. Christian in over the blue line. Christian, back of the net. Losing the puck there. Cleared out along the boards and back into the United States end.
Well, after an initial burst there, 20 or 30 seconds, the U.S. team has done very little for about the last 45. They only have 45 seconds to go now in this penalty.
McClanahan, number 24. Johnson in over the blue line. Mark sweeping in and couldn't get the shot away. It goes through the crease. Johnson keeping it in himself. Shot. Hit the side of the net. O'Callaghan. Back to Harrington now. Harrington looking to center. It does to Johnson. A great kick save by Valtonen. And cleared back to Craig with 19 seconds now left in the penalty.
U.S. team moving the puck around really well, particularly Mark Johnson. He didn't quite get a full stick on that shot, and a good save by Valtonen.
Harrington. Back to O'Callaghan. 4 seconds left in the penalty. The slap shot deflected but wide. Then out in front, in the crease, but cleared by the Finns in the penalty. Koskinen back on the ice. Koskinen on the ice for Finland, and the team skated equal strength. The Finns killing the penalty. The slap shot by Schneider. Held on to by Valtonen, and then Valtonen starting to get in it with Pavlich. We've had a lot of incidents of that nature throughout the tournament, but in the games the United States has played, nobody has received a match penalty for fighting. The United States and Finland. The United States in the gold medal, and the U.S. in blue controlling with 12:35 remaining in the first period. No score. Ken Morrow to Ramsey, the youngest player on the team. Mike, number 5, he's just 19 years old. Kept in at the point by Wells, but a delayed offside call.
I think both of us were a little bit surprised that the Finnish team named Valtonen to start the game. Keevala, the other goaltender, has played extremely well in this tournament, and he looked like the logical candidate to play, even though they've been going through a strict rotation, and this is a chance. But it would appear as if the Finnish coach knows their team better than we do, because Valtonen is doing what they expected of him.
No score with 12:24 remaining in the first period. So Arnemi up to Susi, number 29, Timo Susi, taken away from him by Kritkoff. Back it comes to Saarinen, number 4, and then Susi clears it around the boards. Craig can't stop it, comes back out toward the point, and back to center ice. But Ruzioni losing it to Saarinen, then getting it back. Ruzioni, good pass to Kritkoff. Back it comes to Mike, and his shot is deflected high over the glass and into the third row.
Well, with about 8 minutes having been played, both goaltenders have made a few good saves. What impresses me up to this point with the U.S. team is that they've shown very little sign of nerves, which has plagued them in the early parts of other games, and logically should plague them in a game like this. After the game on Friday night, knowing what this game means, we all thought that they would come out with a very slow start. Instead, they've played quite well up till now.
Neil Broughton on the faceoff. Slap shot is deflected in front. The Finns in control. Back to center ice to Porvary. He loses it there. And it's Broughton. Leaving it for Christian. Davey up ahead to Broughton and then taken away at center ice. Porvary, the captain. Weak backhander. Jim Craig clearing to the side. Baker back of the net. Ruzioni. And tied up for a faceoff. 8 minutes, 36 seconds have elapsed. The U.S. and Finland, no score. The Finns, they were upset in the very first game of this tournament, beaten by Poland. They came back to beat Japan, beat Canada, lost to the Soviets 4-2, blitzed Holland 10-3, and then in their opening medal game on Friday, the Finns and the Swedes played a 3-3 tie. One more game to come at 2:30 this afternoon, the Soviet Union taking on Sweden.
You still see Porvary on the ice. They're playing him double shifts, and they're playing him back-to-back shifts, which is a bit unusual. I thought that if they would be playing him double shifts, they would at least give him a bit of a break in between.
Porvary is number 25. Hopalainen, back of the net. Cleared along the boards, kept in by Litma. Easy shot to save by Craig. Ken Morrow, 23 years old. Picked up at center ice. Hopalainen takes it away, and this is Porvary skating it over the right wing. Taken out of the play, however, by Morrow. And Mark Johnson controls for the U.S. Cross-ice pass is deflected. Back it comes, however, to Morrow. Up ahead to МакКлэнахэн as the Americans have to set up again now. Ramsey circling back.
The U.S. team in good control. They're not forcing plays. If they don't have anything, they come back.
But Litma able to save it, and then the slap shot from near the point by Porvary goes in to make it 1-0 Finland. This was controlling. Litma was able to intercept the pass at the goal line, and it's manifested in a 1-0 score as the Finns take the lead.
This is a long shot, but it was a tough shot because he shot it right off the fly and very hard into the top corner.
So it's Finland 1 and the Americans nothing. Finland 1, the United States nothing. 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first period. Remember the other night in the West Germany game, Jim Craig gave up 2 goals on long slap shots early. The U.S. trailed 2-0 in that game and eventually won it 4-2. And again, it was a long slap shot today by Porvary to Finland a 1-0 advantage. Vila, number 13, shooting it in around the board. Christian is there to come up with it, and now it's Harrington controlling number 28 from Minnesota Duluth. He played there with Pavlich, number 16, and works on the same line with Pavlich here now. Buzz Schneider is the third man on that line. Here comes Pavlich. Pavlich trying to get it over to the left side, taken away by the Finns, and we've got the whistle for an offside and a face-off.
Come on, Blue, get it back.
Here's the goal again. The shot into the top corner just over Jim Craig's shoulder. We'll see it again. He's moving over with the pass. The shot comes immediately and just beats him.
9.5 minutes remaining in the first period. Finland ahead 1-0. Litma clearing it the length of the ice. The icing call is waved off, and Ramsey has it back to the net. Verkota. Trouble. Taken away the blue line by Peltonen, but back it comes to Ramsey. To O'Callaghan now. Remember, O'Callaghan, 17, was hurt in the first several games, but he's taken his regular turn in the last 3. And we've got icing here, so the face-off in the American end. 8 minutes and 55 seconds to play first period. It's Finland 1 and the U.S. nothing. The Finns controlling at center ice now with 8 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first period. Finland leading 1-0. Timo Susi, long is wide. The Americans clear the zone. Saarinen, number 4, shooting it back in, but Dave Christian is there to pick it up. Christian. He has 6 assists in the tournament thus far. Broughton can't control. Then Susi almost lost it back to Neal. In the corner, Eruzione back out to the point to Christian. Long slap shot and the save by Valtonen.
Not only the save by Valtonen, but he caught it right on the blocker there, preventing any kind of a rebound.
Jorma Valtonen in the nets for the Finns.
Here's Christian's shot. He's waiting for everybody to get to the front of the net to provide something of a screen. And there's Valtonen juggling it and holding on.
8 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first period. Savaraniemi, number 3. Morrow tries to keep it in. The American control again. Johnson, however, able to get it in front, but Savaraniemi is there for the Finns. Up to Porvary, who scored the goal, number 25. Leinonen skating in over the blue line. Then the slap shot off the pass, and Porvary fans on the shot from near the face-off circle.
The U.S. team found themselves all tied up on one side of the ice, with Porvary wide open on the other side. Fortunately, the puck just bounced over his stick.
The Americans coming back the other way now as Johnson loses it at center ice to Leinonen, the 15. Leinonen skating in, ridden out of the play by Ramsey nicely. МакКлэнахэн picking up the puck. Up ahead to Johnson. Mark leaves it for Davy Silk. Then Porvary able to clear, and we've got offside. The puck came out across the blue line, and then Ramsey skated in with it, face-off at center ice. In the neutral zone, it's 1-0 Finland with 7 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first period. Mark Johnson. His dad coaches the University of Wisconsin. Father, of course, was the head coach in 1976 at Innsbruck. He was the college player of the year at Wisconsin last season. Valtonen clearing it to the side. Vila, the center ice now to Koskinen. Koskinen, his shot is wide. And deflects off the glass into the seats. So 6 minutes and 49 seconds now remaining in the first period.
But the U.S. team has to keep in, but there's still almost 47 minutes to go in the game. They're down 1-0. They would have liked to have gotten that first goal, but there's still a long time to go, a long time before any kind of a panic should set in.
We've had dramatics all week long. The U.S. seemingly falling behind in every game and then coming from behind. Again, the case today, 1-0. Vila got it out in front, then the slap shot is deflected in front, and Jim Craig will pick it up. We'll have the face-off. 6:33 to go, 1-0 Finland. Back after this word from your local station. Minutes now left in the first period. Finland in white, the United States in blue. It's 1-0 Finland on a goal by Porvary at the 9.5-minute mark here in the first period. Ken Morrow. Back over to Mike Ramsey, the #1 draft choice of the Buffalo Sabres. Losing it as he crosses the blue line. The Finns get it back to center ice, and Ken Morrow to chase it down there. Leaves it for Eruzione. Ramsey. The Finns take possession. Akolinen clearing it along the boards, but the Americans keep it in. Kристофф can't get the shot away. Taken out of the play. Akolinen losing it at center ice, and Ramsey back to get it now. Up ahead to Kристофф at his own blue line. He can't get by Jari Kurri, who then sweeps it into the American end.
With the last 5 minutes, the U.S. team has been really unable to pick up the pace of the game or put on any kind of pressure in the Finland zone.
Apalainen to Makitalo. This is Litma, #10. To Susi off his skate, taken away by Bill Baker. Baker starts in over the blue line. Bill Baker into the corner. Centered out in front. It went through the crease. Deflected. Past Boltonen. Curry forward in the corner. Litma and Kристофф now. Litma getting it over to Hapalainen, #6. Hapalainen can't clear it. Groton, then it's deflected in front, and a catch made by Boltonen. Boltonen able to glove it with a puck in the air to save it.
Bolton was very sharp on that save. First of all, sprawling out to make the initial save, and then keeping his eye on the puck. Here we see it again. Watch him slide to stop the deflection. Then he's able to watch it go up and over him, and his glove up to grab it.
So the Americans coming that close to tying the game. Herb Brooks pacing back of the American bench. The Finns lead 1-0. 4:18 to play in the first period. Kристофф, #11, you saw him on the bench. It's Mark Johnson on the faceoff. The line of Silk, Johnson, and МакКлэнахэн on the ice at the moment. Porvary. Saarinen up ahead. Hapalainen. Porvary skating in. Ken Morrow back to get it. Morrow, who always seems to be in the right place at the right time. It's been that way through all 7 games thus far. Eloranta clearing it back. Porvary then leaves it at center ice, and the Americans take control again. Ramsey at his own blue line. Finland 1, the United States 0. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the first period. МакКлэнахэн can't control. Checked out of the play. Johnson pressured by Eloranta. Johnson along the boards. It comes out to Silk. Returns it to МакКlэнахэн. The puck's still loose. Silk comes up with it now. Silk around the boards to Johnson. Mark tied up by Saarinen. Comes loose with it. Nobody's out at the left point at the moment, so Johnson skating in the corner, trying to center it. Now out to Morrow, skating in the shot, and the save in front. Cleared away by Boltonen. And back it comes to center ice.
But before the game, I was manager of the Finland team, and he was wanting to avoid a game that's played along the boards. The North Americans handle the puck along the boards much better than the Europeans. And we saw an example of that there with the U.S. pressure.
Silk, the slap shot, the save. And tied up by Boltonen with 2:42 remaining now in the first period. Boltonen now has 11 saves, and Craig with 8.
Here comes the last scoring opportunity for the U.S. Silk, a slap shot that almost finds its way through Valtonen's legs, but he squeezes it and covers up.
Pavlich on the faceoff against Koskinen. Christian from the point. His shot deflected high into the corner. Schneider tied up there. Baker overskates the puck, and the Finns are able to clear the zone. Haapalainen up ahead to Vila, number 13. Vila then shoots it into the American end. Craig leaving it back of the net. Christian to start up ice for the U.S. Harrington in over the blue line. And Harrington taken out of the play as Haapalainen comes up with it for Finland, number 6. Off the skate of Schneider. Vila now at center ice, taken away by Pavlich. Schneider then goes down. Crowd wants a penalty. They don't get it. Buzz ridden out of the play legally. Vila in over the blue line. The shot by Craig wide. 1:50 remaining in the first period. Schneider taken out at the blue line with the Americans with center ice. Pavlich and Koskalati. Koskinen trying to tie it up along the boards, but the Americans get it free. Then Ramsey goes down, but gets the puck into the finish end. Kристофф skating in hard. And tied up along the boards with 1 minute and 28 seconds remaining now in the first period. It's Finland 1 and the United States nothing. 1:28 remaining in the first period. The face-off in the finish end, and it comes back out to center ice for Ramsey. Tomorrow. Valtonen stopping it back of the net, and up along the boards to Pelton. It's clear to the neutral zone. Ramsey has it. Eruzione. And back to Ramsey with 1 minute 8 to go in the period. Remember the other night when Mark Johnson scored with 1 second left against the Soviets. Here's Kристофф skating in, but offside.
Kристофф has been having some problems in the tournament so far, but he's gotten off to a very good start in this game. He's had a couple of good scoring opportunities, made a lot of good plays.
Kристофф has scored only 1 goal, but as Ken said, and again we reiterate, a total team 1 star. You can't say any one man has gotten the U.S. to this point. It's been Craig and Schneider and Pavlich and Johnson and Morrow. You can name them all. Final minute of play in the first period. Finland ahead 1-0. Davy Christian circles back. Bill Baker. Return to Christian. Up ahead. And then Susi takes over for Finland, number 29. Into the American zone. Johnson up ahead to Silk. 33 seconds to go in the period. Dave Silk can't get the slap shot away. Skates with it into the corner. Into МакКлэнахэн. Now to Christian. The shot, glove save by Valtonen with 24 seconds to go in the first period.
Dave Christian had to let that shot go quickly because he was about to be checked. But unfortunately, the U.S. could not get anybody in front of the net, and all it made it was a 60-foot, fairly easy, unobstructed shot.
Finland leading 1-0. The goal at the 90 mark by Jukka Porvari. The Finns coming into this game with 1 point in the medal round. The U.S. with 3 points. Haapalainen goes down back of his own net. Litma there to pick up the puck. Cleared along the boards and stopped by the linesman at center ice. Eruzione can't take over. Now the pass to Broughton taken away by Kymäläinen. And the save by Craig, who leaves it back with the netter as the first period expires. So again, the United States finding themselves on the short end of the score after the first period, as they have many times throughout the tournament. Finland leading 1-0 as we again take a look at the only score in the first period.
Here comes the pass over to Porvary, and watch Porvary. He'll let it go without even stopping it, and that's a terrific advantage. It makes it very hard for the goaltender.
So at the end of the first period, Center, it's Finland 1 and the United States nothing. Scoring in the first period came at the 9:20 mark. Jukka Porvari, number 25, scoring.
There's the play with Litma stealing the puck, passing it to Leynonen, and here comes Porvari letting the shot go immediately. 1-0, and that's the score at the moment.
A look at Herb Brooks. Again, we will get into all of the possibilities that exist if the United States loses or if we have a tie situation, but we'll do that when it appears imminent because it is as complicated as ordinary, believe me. 1-0, Finland on top in the second period. Ken Morrow to Ramsey. Up ahead and then taken away at center ice by Sawarinemi. Leynonen, who had the assist on Porvari's goal, losing it to Morrow. Ken backhanding it, right side. Johnson skates in over the blue line. Mark tries to get it to McClanahan, but Robbie couldn't get his stick down on the puck. Ramsey scrapping in the corner. Along the boards to Johnson. Gets it back out to Ramsey. Right to the point, then to McClanahan. McClanahan had the angle cut off. And loses it. Porvari clearing to Hapalainen. And now Morrow taking it away again. Up ahead to Johnson. And then shot back into the American end by Porvari. We'll have an icing call coming up here as soon as Ramsey touches it. And 1:01 has elapsed in the second period.
Take it up, Rizzo. Come on, Michael. Good job, Tony.
Live at the Olympic Ice Center with 18:29 remaining in the second period. Finland leading the United States 1-0. The icing call here.
Here's play earlier in the period. Both teams are working very hard. There's a lot of stick work going out there. The stick there is knocked out of the U.S. player's hand. I think that if, while the U.S. team obviously is not pleased being down 1-0, they played pretty well in the first period. And it was really only the very good goaltending of Valtonen that has kept them without a score. In earlier games, they were able to take advantage of rather weak goaltending from the Czechs and from the Soviets, and depending on very strong goaltending from Craig. Well, tonight so far, they're running into a hot goaltender, and that can be a problem.
Zarannie with the puck, number 4. Hakulinen. The Finns deep in the American end, and the centering pass. Nobody is there, but Hakulinen coming back with it, and now Morrow takes it away. We're coming to you live. The game starting at about 11:08 this morning. Hakulinen keeping it in. Pavlich now. Over to Harrington. Harrington nearly fanning on the shot. Didn't get any wood on it. Harrington gets it back again. Away by Valtonen, but Pavlich has it. Pavlich tied up. Harrington again. Now to Pavlich. Pavlich trying to get it to Schneider out in front. Schneider then gets a little bit on the shot, but the goaltender Bolton able to cover up again. And now, as things get a bit rougher, we're going to get a penalty. And Vladimir Schubert, the Czechoslovakian referee,
USA, number 5.
you could hear him say USA, number 5, Ramsey. 2 minutes for roughing. That's the first penalty on the Americans today. The Finns with 1 penalty in the first period. The Americans unable to capitalize on that power play.
The U.S. team has to keep their composure. They're losing it every so often. Again, there's a lot of time to go. Here's the action around the net. This is where this line of Schneider, Harrington, and Pavlich shines. And there's the problem with Ramsey in front of the net. He retaliated to a slash and got the roughing penalty. What we might watch for here with the Finns is that they tend to play on the power play much like a North American team. They will set up, they will try to use their defensemen shooting long from the point, go to the front of the net, look for rebounds, deflections, and try to screen the goalie.
Thus far in the first 6 games, the United States has given up 3 goals in shorthanded situations. Jari Kurri with a puck. 17 minutes, 15 seconds remaining. We're in the second period. Finland on the power play now, leading 1-0. Leynonen skating in. Johnson able to clear it back to McClanahan. The Americans, and clearing the puck back down into the Finland end with 1:36 remaining in the penalty. Leynonen, 15, leaving it at the point now for Porvari, who scored that first period goal, to Jari Kurri. Back out to Sawarinemi. Kurri again. To the point, Sawarinemi. The slap shot off the pass. McClanahan can't clear. Now Christian. And Christian able to get it back to center ice. 1:04 left in Ramsey's penalty. Emmy shooting it in. Back of the net. Back this way. Out to the point. To Porvary. To Savaraniemi. Back of Craig now. Baker got his stick on it to deflect it away. 40 seconds left in the penalty. The Americans clear the zone as Johnson in over the Finnish blue line. Mark goes down. The Finns take it away with 31 seconds left in Ramsey's penalty. Leynonen bluffing the long slap shot, then cleared the length of the ice again with 22 seconds left in the penalty. Kept in the corner. Broughton pressuring Curry. 13 seconds now left in the penalty. The Finns having a tough time getting out of their own end. The crowd responding to the American effort in the shorthanded situation. 4 seconds left in the penalty. Ramsey ready to come out of the box. Here he comes. The team's at equal stake. And a goal! Kристофф scoring backhanded just as Ramsey came out of the penalty box to tie it.
The U.S. team obviously getting a big lift from killing that penalty. Got the puck in front. It was a weak shot, but it appeared to hit a Finnish defender's stick and went right through Valtonen's legs. Here we see it again. Silk going wide. He's being checked rather closely. He can't do much with it, but you can just see it tip off the stick and through Valtonen's legs.
Steve Kристофф scores. We're tied 1. Steve Kристофф scoring from the University of Minnesota, drafted by the North Stars. Another look now.
Here he is again, going to his back, and watch, it just tips very slightly off the Finnish defender's stick and is redirected right through Valtonen's legs.
The goal by Kристофф unassisted, coming at 4:39. We have now 15 minutes remaining in the second period. Morrow trying to get it up ahead of Verkota. Wells able to come up with the puck, but they're offside. The Americans offside. In over the blue line ahead of the puck with 14:55 left in the second period. Again, if you're joining us just now, we are live from Lейк-Плэсид, the Olympic Ice Center, the United States. It's as simple as this. With a win, they clinch the gold medal. With a tie, there are possibilities. We'll get into those later if it looks like a tie is imminent. But the Americans, after trailing 1-0 in the first period on a goal by Finland's Porvary, able to tie the game on Kристоff's goal here in the second period. Vila, his shot deflected into the seats. Al Michaels, along with former Montreal goaltender Ken Dryden at the Olympic Center, replacing rocking all week long. It all started with Sweden, the goal by Baker, the emotional win over Czechoslovakia. Then they went next door to the old arena last Saturday, beat Norway, came back here to beat Romania, West Germany. And what more can you say about Friday night? And now today, the Americans won, the Finns won. Baker. Losing it in his own blue line, but Baker is there to come up with the puck. Scrapping for it at center ice. And shot into the Finland end. Valtonen. Snyder with a hard check. As Harrington gets the loose puck back out to the point. Slap shot in is deflected in front by Iloranta. Now Pavlich controlling again. Out in front to Schneider. Buzz was alone, but couldn't get his stick on the puck. And then Schneider loses his stick, and he'll also be going off for 2 minutes here. So Schneider will go into the box. Finns have the power play again. 14 minutes to go. Second period.
That's what the referee saw, and that's why the penalty.
Brief protest from Schneider, but his teammates moving him away from the referee into the penalty box. The Americans trying to kill another Finnish power play opportunity. Porvary. Johnson is with him at center ice, and back it comes across the blue line. Arniemi. Number 3. 1:40 remaining now in the penalty to Schneider. To Leynonen. Back of the net. Back it comes toward the point and deflected in out in front by Mikko Leynonen. So Finland, it took them 30 seconds after Schneider's penalty to go out in front again. It's 2-1 Finland.
The U.S. ran into the same problem that they've been suffering from through most of the Olympics. They're getting drawn away from the net. There should be a defenseman
somewhere stationed in front of the net. And what Christian's on one side, Baker's on another, but Leynonen is in between, and it's a 2-1 game. Here we see Leynonen all by himself, right by the post, the closest man being Mark Johnson.
Leinonen's 6th goal of the Olympics. 2-1 Finland. Ken Morrow has the puck for the United States. We have 13 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the second period. Finland leading 2-1. The icing call here in the face-off in the American zone. Crowd wanting the penalty call there on the Finns. Of course, Schneider went off with a slashing call, and the Finns able to capitalize in the second period. 2-1.
The U.S. team has to keep its composure. They're losing it every so often. It's showing up in some penalties. It's showing up in some after whistle altercations. They're going to have to keep control of themselves. There's still a lot of time to go yet.
Porvary can't clear it out. Now Pelton. So Arnemi losing it at the point. Here comes Broughton, 2-on-1. Broughton skating in. Broughton trying a centering pass. Nice play by Saarinen, number 4.
Saarinen made a beautiful play there, forcing him wide and then diving for the pass.
And now it's Broughton again, back of the net. Eruzione trying to center it. Off the defenseman's stick and back out it comes to the American end as Christian. Skating behind his own net. Defense keeping it in. Saarinen again at the point. Porvary now. Centering pass, and back out it comes across the blue line as Broughton takes over there. Broughton skating in. He can't get by Saarinen. Up ahead to Hakulinen and shot into the American end where Baker is back to get it for the American. Kристофф, who scored the goal, to Broughton now. Broughton has it poke checked away by Iloranta. Broughton comes up with a loose puck. Tries to backhand it in. 5,000 in. And the Finns clear the end to take the pressure off. Icing will be the call, so the Americans had the opportunity there to tie, but again it was Valtonen with a save and 11:46 remaining in the second period.
That penalty to Schneider was a very costly one. Not only did it just slowed the whole, or changed the whole momentum of the game. There's the Broughton chance. He's almost able to jam it in the corner. But the U.S. team had just kind of feeling that they want after tying the game, and they had to go back on the defensive again with being a man short.
Wells and Curry on the faceoff. Ramsey has it to O'Callaghan. His shot, the save by Valtonen. Verkota gets it back out to O'Callaghan at the point. Another slap shot is wide. Ramsey in the corner. The Finns take it away. Makitalo to Susi. The Americans possession. Wells to Verkota and over the blue line. Phil tries to split the defense and can't get the shot away. Verkota then tied up. Wells with a loose puck. Tried to get it back to Verkota, but taken away by Haapalainen. Curry can't handle that pass. Strobel tries to backhand it in and can't. Now O'Callaghan again for the U.S. Over to Ramsey and O'Callaghan again. Intercepted by Curry. Curry starts in over the blue line. Nice pass. Saved by Craig and swept away. O'Callaghan in control now. Up ahead to Strobel. Eric in alone over the blue line. Down the left side. Strobel setting up. Still nobody at the left point, so he has to pass it behind him. Now Baker is there at the point. And Baker's shot is deflected into the seats. The whistle to stop play. 10:29 remaining now. Second period. Still, Finland 2 and the Americans 1. Halfway mark of the second period at the Olympic Ice Center. Finland ahead, 2-1. The Americans into the finish end, but Harrington has it taken away there by Leynonen. Porvary now with a puck number 25. His pass intercepted by Pavlich. And back into the Finland end. Iloranta gets taken out of the play. Schneider has it now. Buzz. To Harrington. Strobel picking up the loose puck in the corner. The Americans trying to keep it in at the point, but the puck comes out past the blue line and tied up along the boards there for a face-off. Now with 9:47 remaining in the second period.
There we see Harrington working hard. That line, again, that's basically how they make things work for themselves. They're not that talented individually, but they work very hard, they pressure very well, and they create scoring opportunities off that pressure.
Johnson on the face-off, but the Finns have it. Zarannie. Now Morrow. Over to Johnson. Ramsey now for the U.S. Rob McClanahan. McClanahan up ahead to Johnson. But Johnson has it taken away, then gets it back, and the Finns clear it again to center ice. Ramsey to Johnson. Silk will play this pass off the boards and shoot it in. Back of the Finland goal to the near side. Johnson and Ramsey both there, and the puck back to center ice and controlled by Finland. Koskinen skating in. Koskinen couldn't backhand it, went through the crease. And then back out to center ice. Koskalati, number 20. Craig leaves it for Ramsey. Up ahead now to Davy Silk. Mark Johnson. Good pass to McClanahan. Robbie skating in. Ramsey couldn't get a stick on it. Neither could Johnson. In the corner it comes now. Mark circling. Zarannie putting a lot of pressure on, number 3. And a whistle. They tie it up for a face-off. 8:34, the time remaining now in the second period. The Finns leading the Americans 2-1. The Americans trailing 2-1. Kристофф losing it on the weak pass. Porvary with it. Porvary, the slap shot. Craig with a save. The kick save by Jim. It winds up in the seats with 8:27 remaining now in the second period.
Well, Porvari, an ever-dangerous player. He's played an awful lot tonight. He's played every second shift. There's his shot. This time it's a low one, and Craig kicks it off his stick into the crowd. It'll be interesting to see how well Porvary is going to be able to play in the last of the third period. He's seen a lot of ice time, and I'm sure that if the game is close, he probably won't be affected because of the emotion of it. If the U.S. team can get ahead and frustrate them a little bit, I'm sure that fatigue will set in.
Kристофф skating in. Around the boards to Broughton now. Christian keeping it in at the point, but taken away. Leynon. Cross ice pass intercepted by Baker and swept back to center ice. Porvary goes down. Trapping for it. Back in the American zone. Now Neil Broughton, number 9. Broughton, who played at Minnesota. Second round draft choice of the Minnesota North Stars. Porvary chasing it back in his own end. But back to Broughton. Broughton with Litma now. Litma back of the net. Leynon. And the Finns clear ice. Keep in mind one thing, again, we'll get into all of the ifs when they are imminent, but one thing, if the United States ties Finland today, we have the ultimate irony. We'll have Americans rooting for the Soviet Union against Sweden in the next game. If this game winds up in a tie and the Soviets win the next game, the Americans win the gold. 7 minutes remaining now in the second period. Strobel losing it at center ice. Susi has it taken away. Waiting for the Finns now to get back onside. Up ahead to Susi. Timo Susi. Flipping it into the corner. Ramsey passing along the boards out to Verkota. Verkota softly up to center ice, where Saarinen is back to get it for Finland. 6.5 minutes now remaining in the second period. Finland leading 2-1. Puri, his shot is wide. Makitalo passing it back of the boards to Susi, taken away by Morrow. The Americans back the other way now. Wells taken out of the play by Saarinen. Verkota over there to help out, number 27. Now it's Wells again, trying to get it free. Strobel can't get his stick on the pass, and the Finns clear it, taking the pressure off. So icing is the call here. 5:53 now remaining in the second period. It is still Finland 2, United States 1 in Lейк-Плэсид. The first period, second period, Kристофф unassisted. to tie the game. Then Leinonen's goal off the finished power play at 6:30 of this period. 2-1 Finland, 5.5 minutes to go in the second. Bill Baker. Pavlitz can't control. Back into the American end. O'Callaghan. Baker. Pavlitz scrapping for it. Taken away. Leinonen, who scored the goal, the second goal. That's the difference in the game. Leinonen's pass. Finland couldn't get his stick on it. Back comes the U.S. with O'Callaghan. In line to Schneider. His shot to save. The rebound is cleared away.
It's really about the only good scoring chance the U.S. has had all period, with the exception of the goal they've scored.
Baker has it knocked down at center ice, and it's Leinonen skating in. Leinonen skating in on Craig, and Craig makes the save.
Craig held the angle, gave Leinonen very little.
Here's Schneider now, leaving it for Harrington. Harrington has it blocked in front. Kapalainen. Back to Leinonen, 15. Cleared out of the zone. Harrington can't get it back in. And the Finns trying to tie it up along the boards. And do. 4:08 now remaining in the second period. Baltonen has done the job today.
There's the chance by Schneider. Baltonen going down early, but making the save. Finland is going to get a penalty. Here comes the return play on the backhand by Leinonen. Craig just holds it. It appears as if Finland is going to get a penalty, probably for delay of game.
That will be the call as the door to the penalty box is now open. You can see Sorniemi trying to freeze the puck along the boards, and that is the call. Here he comes. He goes into the penalty box.
There's been tremendous inconsistency in the refereeing in calling that particular play. Here it is right here, Sorniemi. He's got the puck along the boards. The U.S. players back off, and if they don't go into delay of game. However, in many of the games up until this time, the referees have blown the whistle and have not called a penalty.
Good remark in terms of the game the other night, in particular, when they called a penalty against the Soviet Union, the type that they hadn't been calling, and the Americans were able to capitalize. We'll see if that can be the case again now, as for the second time, and for the first time since very early in the game, the United States with a power play chance. 4 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the second period. Finland ahead, 2-1. Johnson at center ice, but Ramsey able to get it back to Mark. Now Dave Christian, over to Ramsey. Up ahead to Silk. In on the left side. Silk. Back of the net to McClanahan. To Christian now at the point. Return pass to McClanahan. Centered out in front. Silk shot, a save. Still loose, and now it's tied up for a face-off.
The referee, feeling that the puck was being held, blew the whistle. But a good play by the U.S. team, working a 2- or 3-way pass. Here we see it at the corner of the net. Now watch the U.S. player at the top of the screen, sneaking in at the side. But because he's a right-handed shot, he didn't have much of an opportunity to get his stick on the puck.
3:38 to go in the second period. To Davy Silk, 1:18 remaining now in the penalty. Ramsey to Silk again. McClanahan through the crease and cleared back into the American zone, where Craig will leave it at his own blue line for Ramsey.
The Finns were not only one man short, but they only had 4 players with only 3 sticks. As Kimalainen had lost his stick.
Can't keep it in at the point. Back it comes. They'll set up again. We have 54 seconds left in the penalties to Sorniemi of Finland. The U.S. trying to get even on the power play. Johnson, centering pass is blocked in front. And cleared again, back into the American zone with Craig. We'll leave it now for Ramsey again with 35 seconds left in the penalty. Davy Silk. O'Callaghan up ahead to Mark Johnson. Johnson skating into the Saarinen, doing a marvelous job for the Finns, number 4, in killing this power play opportunity. Johnson. Back of the net now for Ruzioni. To Silk, 12 seconds left in the penalty. Silk, Ruzioni again. Back to Silk, 6 seconds left in the penalty. Silk to Johnson. Mark circling, and the penalty is expired. The teams are at equal strength now. Eruzione dropping it for Silk. And behind the net, Johnson setting up. Back to Silk, to Eruzione. The Americans controlling the puck, but not getting a real good scoring opportunity.
They can't get anybody close to the net. The passes are too wide.
And then clear the length of the ice. And with the teams at equal strength, this will be an icing call. So a minute 40 now remaining in the second period. 1:40 left in the second. Still, Finland 2 and the Americans 1. US 2-1. The Finns in white, the Americans in blue. Leynonen shooting it back of the net as Craig is there, and the Americans start back the other way now. Kристофф, who has scored the only American goal today. Kристофф skating in. Kристоff's shot goes through the crease. Baker can't keep it in. Back it comes to center ice. Koskalati, number 20, leaving it for Koskinen. Koskinen sweeping, then shooting, and the glove save by Craig.
Very big save by Jim Craig. With the U.S. team down by a goal with only a minute and 8 seconds to go in the period, it would have created a 2-goal gap. It's particularly tough because Craig had to be moving his body to the opposite side to where the puck was going. He made a beautiful glove save.
Walton in with 19, Craig with 12. We talked about the similarity to Squaw Valley, the U.S. having to beat Czechoslovakia in the final game back in 1960. Remember, in that game in which they did beat Czechoslovakia, they trailed 4-3 after the second period, winning at 9-4. Blocked in front and covered up for the face-off. So Ramsey in front of Craig to make the save.
Finland has played an excellent period. In the first period, they had the lead, but they had it largely because of the goaltending of Valtonen. In this period, there's been very little activity around the Finland zone, only 2 or 3 chances, and really the goal that did result was one off of a non-chance, but made into one by a deflection off the defenseman's stick.
Finns ahead 2-1. Has it poke-checked away. Schneider now losing it at center ice to Leynonen, but it's Pavlich who comes up with the puck. Pavlich goes down. And the Finns clearing it again as Porvary, number 25, takes control. Back to Saarniemi. Morrow will chase it down in the corner. Over to Ramsey with 25 seconds remaining in the second period. Up ahead to Schneider. Buzz fanning on the shot. Tries the backhand. Nobody there out in front. Kept in by Harrington. He's tied up. Puck comes loose. 10 seconds to play. And Pavlich shooting into the corner and nobody is there. Leynonen takes control. 5 seconds to go in the second period. The puck cleared the length of the ice. We'll have an icing call if the touch is made before the end of the period, but it's not. So, at the end of the second period, in the game the United States needs to win to clinch the gold medal, it's Finland 2, the U.S. 1, and we'll be back after these words from the Olympic Ice Center. Al Michaels, Ken Dryden, 20 minutes to play. The third period beginning now. The United States trailing Finland 2-1. The U.S. clinching the gold medal if from behind and win it. Saarniemi into the American end. Back of the net. The Finns on top. The difference right now, Leinonen's goal on the power play at 6:30 of the second period. Finland ahead 2-1. 18 seconds elapsing now in the third.
Finns have played a very impressive game up until now. They've played it basically off of a defensive base, only going to the offense when there seems to be an opportunity. Much like the way they did against the Soviets a few nights ago, playing the game mostly in their zone, but rarely in trouble. Clearing the zone when they have to, getting good goaltending when they need it.
We'll start to point out the possibilities now. Even with a tie, the United States would have a chance at the gold medal. With a tie in this game, it would mean that we would have, again, as I say, what would amount to an incredible irony. The Americans rooting for the Soviets against Sweden in the next game to either beat the Swedes or tie the Swedes. The Americans would still then have a chance at a gold medal. 2-1, Finland on top. Christian losing it. It's Litma now taking over at center ice. Eloranta back into the American end. Davy Christian, number 23. Christian's pass is too far, too long for Eruzione. And when the touch is made here, the icing call and the face-off near Jim Craig now in the U.S. zone.
I would expect that the Finns would continue to play the same way, again, rather defensively, and hope that given that style of play and given the circumstances and given the fact that the U.S. team is so close to something that they desperately want, that they'll be able to cause great frustration in the U.S. team and make it that much harder for them to come back to tie the game and perhaps go ahead.
The man in your picture on the Finnish bench was Leynonen, the head coach. Saarinen into the corner, and Morrow taking the puck there for the United States, but back out to the point where Saarinen keeps it in. Now Morrow again. Up ahead to Harrington. Snyder. Buzz in on the left side. Snyder to Pavlich. Pavlich tries to get it out in front, and it will be cleared by the Finns. Peltonen checked into the boards by Morrow, taken by Ramsey. Snyder chasing it down in the corner now. To Harrington. Leynon can't control. Now Snyder. Buzz couldn't get it out in front. And Pavlich got the blue line, so the Americans will try to set up again. Morrow has it taken away at center ice. It's Peltonen now and over the blue line. Peltonen ridden out by Ramsey. Litma then shoots it into the corner. Out in front is Morrow. Ken up ahead now to Pavlich. Pavlich, his pass too long for Snyder, and the Americans changing lines on the fly as Valtonen has the easy save here, and the Finns start to come back the other way. Litma losing it at center ice. Christian back to Bill Baker. And Baker, his pass too long into the Finnish zone, and the icing call to result in the face-off in the American end now. With 17 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the game, it is still Finland 2 and the Americans 1. We've got the greatest news of all for you. As you can see, the Americans, the mob scene there, Phil Verkota has just scored to tie the game. Phil Verkota scoring his third goal in the Olympics at the 2:25 mark. Here's the play with Christian starting it.
Dave Christian makes a beautiful play. The defenders with him. Passes to Verkota, who hits the far corner. Here we see it again. Watch the defenders all go on Christian. Verkota is open. He gets Valtonen moving the wrong way, and it's a 2-2 game.
So the Americans, nothing has come easy for the last week and a half. The tie was Sweden in the last 27 seconds. The emotional game with Czechoslovakia. In fact, they trailed Norway. They trailed West Germany the other night against the Soviet Union. Now the game is tied again, 2-2. 17 and a half minutes to play. Craig stopping it back to the net. Ramsey up ahead to Johnson. Morrow picking up the loose puck. The Finns take over in their own zone. Saarinen. Icing is waved off here. Morrow with Porvary, and it's tied up along the boards. Take a look, another angle now on the goal by Verkota. Off the pass from Christian. Game at 2-2.
There's Christian again. Because he's forcing the play, he brings everybody with him, leaving Verkota at a bad angle, but still all alone.
Deja vu, it's incredible. It's Squaw Valley all over again. The U.S. trailed in that game in which they clinched the gold medal, remember, 4-3 against Czechoslovakia. Came back to win. We're tied 2-2 here. 16:56 remaining in the third period. Long swept aside by Craig. Castellati loses the puck to Kристофф. Steve back the other way. The crowd roaring. Kристофф in over the blue line. And then his drop pass is intercepted and cleared back to the American zone. Davy Christian takes control there. Christian himself over the blue line. Karam's off the boards. Eruzione out in front. Kристофф couldn't get his stick on it. And Christian, the poke check, but Haapalainen controls for Finland. So on the Emmy, back to get it.
The U.S. is changing. They're getting caught a little bit.
Now Vila, the slap shot. Swept aside and into the seats. The U.S. changing on the fly, and as Ken said, almost left defenseless.
Well, we've got another angle on the goal. Dave Christian taking the puck from his own zone and then finding Verkota on the wing. There you see Verkota at a fairly bad angle.
but Valtonen is well over to the post, leaving the far side.
16-11. The chance again. USA. Brooks. He's been stoical throughout the tournament, except for the emotion he showed in the third period at the end of the game against the Soviets. But very talkative, very chatty on the bench today. 16 minutes remaining. Up ahead to Hakkalainen. His shot is deflected into the seats by Ramsey.
Now, do you suppose that there's something in the Christian family genes about Olympic finals and doing something in third period?
Incredible. His father, Billy, of course. As you look at Vice President Walter Mondale, his father, Billy, playing on the 1960 team. His uncle, right on the 1960 team. There's the graphic showing that Craig, in the third period, in the 6 games, has allowed a total of 3 goals. Craig, thus far today, 14 saves. Valtonen has been equal to the task on 20 occasions. Litma losing it at center ice. Morrow sweeping it, but losing it to Porvary. Cleared into the American end, the bouncing puck. Craig leaving it for Morrow. Morrow up ahead, a nice pass to Harrington. Skating in over the blue line, but taken away. Good play by Litma of Finland. To Eloranta. And deflected, it goes through the crease. Peltonen couldn't get his stick on it. Out in front, the Finns keeping the pressure on. Now Buzz Schneider takes control for the U.S. Brings it out of danger to center ice and passes it into the corner. Valtonen back of the net to leave it for Peltonen. 15 minutes to play. The U.S. 2 and Finland 2. Peltonen can't split the defense. Taken away by Mark Wells. Verkota chasing it down. And tied up for a face-off. 14 minutes and 46 seconds remaining at the Olympic Center. U.S. 2, Finland 2. The puck in the Finland end, and now back to center ice, where Bill Baker controls for the United States, then loses it at the blue line. Up ahead to Susi on the left side. Susi can't play the Karam pass. Christian there with him. Wells, who has lost his helmet, starts to skate out of his own end. Up ahead to Eric Strobel. Strobel then loses at center ice to Makikiker in over the blue line. Shot in around the boards, back of the net. Saarinen losing it there. Johnson with it. Comes back to Christian at the point. Davey getting out in front. Backhands it. Swept aside in front. Johnson. And he scores!
Here's the replay. Mark Johnson, puck behind the net. Finds right out in front of the net, and Valtonen, McClanahan waits for Valtonen to fall down. His legs open up, and he slides it right underneath him. There's the play again. Just waits a little bit. If Valtonen had stayed on his feet, it would have been much harder, but he fell down, and McClanahan slipped it under him.
13:55 to play. The U.S. 3. Finland 2. McClanahan, his 5th goal. The U.S. 3. Finland 2. McClanahan, his 5th goal of the Olympics. The Americans have taken the lead for the first time today. Finland led 1-0. Tied 1-1, and it was 2-1 Finland. And now the Americans have the lead. Ken Morrow to Silk. Morrow again. The announcement being made now, the crowd responding. McClanahan's goal, assisted by Silk and Johnson. Out in front to McClanahan. His shot goes wide. Litma strapping forward along with Johnson. And tied up along the boards. You know something? If you had told strip to Hollywood and gone into a producer's office, you'd have been thrown out on your ear. Completely.
Here we see McClanahan again. Now watch Belton. He goes down, leaves that opening. And McClanahan finds it.
The United States hockey team on top 3-2. 13 minutes and 24 seconds remaining. Zarannie. Vila. Broughton. With Vila and Broughton and hooked him from behind, and we've got a penalty here. So the Finns will have a power play opportunity as Broughton will be going off for 2 minutes.
And that's the kind of play that you want to avoid in this game. Broughton was behind the play, trying to stop the Finnish player. But as is often the case when you're behind, you end up hooking and tripping rather than taking the extra step or two.
We have 13-12 remaining. The USA 3 and Finland 2. Jari Kurri skating in on Fred. That goes wide, the backhander, with 1:39 remaining now in the penalty. Dave Christian takes control for the U.S. Christian starting back the other way and clearing it back down into the Finland end. A minute 29, a minute 28 now left in the penalty to Broughton, who is standing in the penalty box. Back it comes to center ice. Porvary. Hakkulainen. Nice drop pass. And then Hakkulainen had his stick on it, but Craig makes the save again. Craig deflects it into the seats. So the Finns twice coming within inches of tying the game as we see it again.
The U.S. team got caught up ice. Here's the play in front. Baker blocks the pass originally, but is down and out of position. And the Finns have a chance to turn around and make the shot, but it's deflected up probably by Morrow's stick high into the seats.
12:26 remaining in the game. 1:14 remaining in the penalty to Broughton. US 3, Finland 2. The Johnson. МакКлэнахэн unit out there right now along with Ramsey and Morrow to try to kill the penalty. Leynonen on the face-off for Finland. Out to the point. Kurri. Into the corner now. Back to Kurri at the point. Kurri winds up, slap shot and a stick save by Craig.
Porvary partially screened by МакКлэнахэн and a good kick save by Craig.
Leynonen gets it back to the corner. Now out in front, slap shot goes wide. 48 seconds left in the penalty.
They're trying to set up their points all the time.
Morrow made the block there off the slap shot. Back into the Finland end. 40 seconds, 39 in the penalty remaining to Broughton.
The kind of blocks the U.S. team needs right now, whether it's defense, forward, or goalie. They got to get in front of the puck.
Kimalainen to Leynonen. Slap shot off the pass is wide. 27 seconds left in the penalty. Kurri losing the puck. The American in his own. 19 seconds left in the penalty. Johnson skating in, slap shot, glove save, covered up, and a face-off with 14 seconds now left in the penalty to Broughton. The crowd, they were chanting USA, then we want a goal. Now it's defense.
Mark Johnson, seeing he has a chance, goes up with МакКлэнахэн and takes the shot. Fairly easy save by Valtonen.
Face-off in the Finland end. Herb Brooks. Issuing instructions. The teams will be at equal strength in 14 seconds. We have 11:26 remaining in the game. We're live at the Olympic Ice Center. Again, if you joined us late, the U.S. with a win clinches the gold medal. With a tie, still a possibility, depending on the outcome of the Soviet game. And they'll bring in Eruzione now on the face-off as the linesman expels the original pair. Eruzione controls the face-off, but then it comes back out over the blue line. Baker to Christian. 8 seconds left in the penalty. Christian tries to clear it down the ice. Now finally does with 4 seconds. 3, now 2, 1. And the teams are at equal strength as Broughton comes out of the penalty box. Castellani skates by Broughton. Now we've got another penalty coming up on Christian. So the Americans successfully killing the power play opportunity. Will have to do it again.
He's got to do it again now.
Herb Brooks expressing the emotions of everyone right about now.
I'm sure referee Schubert at this stage is trying to avoid calling penalties. That was a pretty obvious tripping call. He could do nothing other than call the penalty. He's in a position now where he doesn't want to decide the game, but if the teams are going to take the obvious penalties, he's going to have to call them.
Dave Christian going off for 2 minutes. 11:06 remaining in the game.
Gotta do it.
The United States
Let's be positive now.
on top, 3-2. Broughton on the face-off. Broughton trying to get it out over the blue line and now cleared back into the Finland end. Valtonen is there to stop it and leave it for Saarinen of his own net. Saarinen in over the blue line. Trying to get it over to Porvary and cleared by the Americans. A minute 30 by Ramsey. Here comes Kристофф. Kристофф trying to get it back to Broughton and couldn't. Loose puck in the Finland end, taken now by QIWI to Peltonen. A minute 24 left in the penalty. QIWI at the point. Broughton scrapping for it, losing it there. Hakulinen now starts to skate in, leaves it for Peltonen. 1:10 to go in the penalty. Out in front, slap shot by Porvari, knocked down in front, covered by Craig. A minute 5 to go in the penalty.
U.S. doing a good job so far. The Finns are having a hard time setting up the way they want to. But again, what they're going to be looking for is getting the puck back to QIWI on one side and get it to the other defense as well. 4 shots on goal.
The U.S. unit at the Avalanche with O'Callaghan, Snyder, and Baker. Saarinen, number 3. QIWI, return pass. Porvary now. 55 seconds left in the penalty. .45 seconds remaining now in the penalty. Out in front, Peltonen got tied up by Snyder. Baker tries to clear. Baker able to get it. 35 seconds remaining now in the penalty. This is Pavlich with it. The Americans killing time and then clear down into the Finland end. 27 seconds remaining in the penalty to Christian. Vila. He's in over the blue line. Vila skating in. Can't split the defense. Johnson takes over and clears it into the Finland end. 15, 14, 13 seconds left in the penalty. 9:17 to play in the game. U.S. 3, Finland 2. Seconds now left in the penalty. The Finns trying to get out of their own end. Leinonen, 3 seconds. 2, 1. The teams are at equal strength. Leinonen fans on the shot. Taken by Johnson. So the Americans kill back-to-back Finnish power plays. Under 9 minutes to play. Leinonen at center ice. Leinonen still controlling. Tries to get it up ahead to Villa. Knocked down by the stick of O'Callaghan. Up ahead now to Davy Schultz. Schultz cross-ice passes in, but it comes back to Ramsey. Ramsey skating in over the blue line, but offside. 8:37 remaining in the third period.
Well, we had another good example of how good a player Mark Johnson is. He's such an all-around player. He can score goals, kill penalties, but he's so subtle, he's so smooth in his moves, it's so unusual for somebody his age that it's often easy to overlook his value to this team. But he's really the dominant forward on it.
Mark Wade off for the Americans. The Finns control. The USA chant beginning again. 8.5 minutes to play. The Americans scoring twice in the period, leading 3-2. Wells over to Strobel. Strobel in over the blue line. His shot deflected wide out in front. Wells scrapping for it. Keeps it in the corner. Strobel putting the pressure on Ailaronto there. Saarinen up ahead to Vila. Number 13. Vila to Koskelati. Over to Saarinen. 8 minutes and 7 seconds to play. And the Finns with 8:05 remaining in the third period.
Well, the U.S. team now, even though they appear to be in something of a comfortable position with a 1-goal lead and a tie putting them possibly into the gold medal, I'm sure at this stage is not thinking anything other than a win. If they're doing anything else than that, they'll fall into too much of a defensive position and make themselves terribly vulnerable to the Finns scoring 1 or perhaps 2.
Broughton to Ruzio off the line right now. Craig sweeping it aside O'Callaghan strapping for it in the corner. Peltonen tying him up there. Face off again. That eats up a few more seconds, and we have 7:53 remaining in the game.
With each whistle, you have about 10,000 people in here putting their eyes up to the clock to see another 5 seconds go, 10 seconds, 15, but it's all working its way down.
Very similar to the situation against the Soviets the other night when Johnson scored to tie the game and then Eruzione scored at exactly the mark. And the Americans were able to hold off the Soviets over the final 10 minutes. 7:53 remaining in the game. 3-2. The Americans leading the Finns.
First it was Jim Craig having a little problem with his strap. Now the U.S. team is finding a small hole in the ice. And again, it's basically to give themselves a little bit more time, a little bit more rest, time for some composure.
Broughton, a bit over anxious on the Peltonen, but the Americans control. O'Callaghan with a puck. Pressured in the corner. Broughton picks it up. Eruzione. He takes some pressure off by clearing it. And an icing call. So something you don't normally do in a case like this, it eats up a few more seconds anyway, and we have 7:38 remaining.
Well, what you're normally trying to do is you want to clear the zone when you're in trouble that way, but you don't want to ice it so that the puck comes back for a face zone. But when it's doubtful, it's better to get it out in any way that you can and risk the icing.
Broughton for the U.S., Peltonen for the Finns on the faceoff. The Finns trying to get it out in front, but it comes to the point. Saarniemi shoots it in, and it's blocked in front. And the Americans in center ice now as Kристофф falls down with it, but it's picked up by Broughton, who brings it in over the blue line. Kристофф strapping in the corner. Back to Broughton, starts to skate in. Kристофф tried to center it out in front. The Finns were there. Back they come. Hakulinen, number 23, has it poke checked away nicely by Baker. Timo Susi dumping it into the corner. Baker back there to get it. Now we have exactly 7 minutes remaining in the game. Kристофф to Eruzione. Eruzione to Kристian again. Kристian gets it into the Finnish end, but taken away there by Timo Susi. Ramsey now back to get it. Ramsey not over his own blue line, but Litma controls now for Finland. Litma to Hakulinen, can't control there. To Harrington now, in over the blue line. Harrington losing the puck to Porvary. 6:25 remaining in the game. The U.S. 3, Finland 2. Schneider kept it in. They're onside. The shot and a stick save by Porvary. Hacks at it, gets it back out to center ice. Morrow waiting for the Americans to get back onside. Back to Ramsey. Ramsey along the boards, but taken there by the Finns. At their own blue line, Leynonen gets the return pass. 6 minutes to play in the game now. Hakulinen stolen by Pavlich. Pavlich to Morrow. Morrow up ahead to Harrington. Harrington scrapping for it. And tied up there for the faceoff. 5:37. Here's the goal. That's the difference in the game right now.
Mark Johnson behind the net, controlling the puck. Two Finnish players. But out in front is Rob McClanahan. Peltonen is down. The U.S. goes ahead 3-2. McClanahan started the Olympics rather slowly. He was injured, however. And it's really only the last 3 games that he's been the kind of player that he has been all season long.
5 minutes, 37 seconds. Time remaining. From the faceoff, Davy Silk trying to control it. Silk tied up by Villa, but gets it over into the corner. McClanahan back to Silk. Nobody in front of the net. Now Johnson picks up the loose puck. Johnson tried to get it over to McClanahan, but it comes out to the point, and then McClanahan comes back to center zone with it. 5:15, 5:14 remaining. Kристian back to Bill Baker. Baker circling. Up to center ice again. Saarinen to Villa. We have 5 minutes to play exactly. Villa's weak shot. Kристian picking up the loose puck. Davey starting back out of his own end. 4:50 remaining. Schultz. McClanahan there for the U.S. To the Finns, trying to bring it back. Back to center up. Ahead to Koskinen. Koskinen skates by Morrow. Picked up by Johnson. And the pass in front was wide to Schultz. At center ice to McClanahan now. Picked up by Johnson. 4:25 to play. Still controlling. Up ahead to Verkota. Verkota skating in. Verkota taken out of the play. Johnson is there. Loose puck. And the Finns start back the other way again. But we've got a penalty coming up on the United States. Another penalty for the U.S. here. Phil Verkota will be going off for 2 minutes with 4:15 remaining.
Whereas the two previous penalties, I think, were good calls. I'm not sure about this one. There's no doubt that Verkota went back at the Finnish player, but it appeared as if he was being held at the time. Whatever it is, the U.S. team has got another 2 minutes to kill him. Here's the play. Amy in there with Verkota. He's got him well wrapped up. Verkota is going to try to get away. Finally hits the Finnish player and drawing the penalty.
Again, we'll tell you the referee is Vladimir Schubert of Czechoslovakia. The linesmen are from Canada and Holland. Verkota in the box. 4:15 remaining in the game. The United States leading Finland 3-2. They successfully killed back-to-back penalties. They'll have to do it again now. Ken Morrow shooting it into the Finland end. Broughton, Kристофф, Morrow on the ice for the United States, along with Ramsey. And Kристофф trying to come around from the side, then his shot goes through the crease. Back to center ice. Morrow has it. 1:33 left in the penalty.
Kристофф and Broughton doing a great job of forechecking, and Kристоff's shot went off the post.
Kристофф scrapping for it again. Gets it out in front, but the Americans control, keeping it in. Johnson skating in. The shot. The reset. They score!
Johnson again, he's all tied up watching. Shoots the first maybe, gets his own rebound. Here he is again, intercepting the pass right at the blue line. Tied up, and there's the rebound goal. Mark Johnson putting the U.S. ahead by 2 goals now, just after it was Kристофф and Broughton, while killing the penalty, forcing the play offensively. It was then Johnson forcing the play offensively in the goal.
There are about 10,000 people in this building. There are a lot more outside the building who couldn't get in. We're watching on a television set on Main Street in the storefront window. They've just seen it. That was a short-handed goal. Remember, the Americans still have a man in the penalty box for 1:12. Scoring short-handed. 3:24 to go in the game. The U.S. 4. Finland. Leynonen, his slap shot, didn't get all of it. Ramsey tries to clear and does. Back to center ice. 56 seconds left in the penalty. 3:10 to play in the game. Verkota in the penalty box for the United States.
U.S. lining up across the blue line. 3 men and then 1 other person as well.
Hopalainen at the point. Porvary couldn't get good wood on it. Leynonen tries to confront the Hopalainen. His slap shot is blocked in front by McClanahan.
See the U.S. team diving after shots. It was McClanahan, and if he missed, it was Ramsey behind him.
24 seconds left in the penalty. Pavlich with a puck. 2:36 to play in the game. Pavlich up ahead. Snyder couldn't control it. Back come the Finns. 15 seconds remaining in the penalty. Poke check at the blue line by Morrow. And they're offside. Offside was the call. 11 seconds now left in the penalty. 2:26 left in the game.
There's the U.S. shots. Rob McClanahan blocking that one with Ramsey and Morrow behind him.
11 seconds left in the penalty. Verkota will be out of the box then. 2:26 remaining in the game.
A lot of winks being exchanged there. Verkota, Johnson, and they're in the position to make them.
Kристофф with the puck. Kристофф able to clear it into the Finland zone. 6 seconds remaining in the penalty. Litma with it. 2 seconds. 1. Here comes Verkota out of the box. The teams are at equal strength. 2:12 to play. Peltonen for Finland with the puck. Back to the American net. Litma keeps him in at the point. Susi, checked by Kристофф, still controls. Back to Saarniemi, and a save by Craig. Verkota with the puck. 1:55 to go in the game. Peltonen leaving it there, then deciding to cover up. 1:49 remaining in the game. The goal again by Johnson.
Mark Johnson just got the puck as it was crossing the blue line, keeping it on. Watch him ward off the defender. First his backhand, but he stays with it. He goes right to the net and finds the rebound.
Finland led 2-1 coming into the third period. But it's been Verkota, МакКлэнахэн, and Johnson scoring for the United States. And now a new chance, one we're so used to. We're number one. A minute 40 remaining in the game. The United States hockey team put together in late August, 61-game schedule. Then on to the Olympics, trying to go unbeaten, trying to clinch the gold. They're a minute 43 away from it right now. Johnson putting the pressure on. Mark got it out in front, but Saarniemi is there. Up to Porvare. Porvare taken out of the play, but the loose puck controlled by the Finns. Saarniemi. A minute 28 to go in the game. The American end. Morrow is there to get it for the U.S. Ramsey passing up along the boards. Up to Saarniemi at the point. Slap shot blocked in front by Johnson. Then Davy Self takes over. A minute 15 to play. Self back up ice to МакКлэнахэн. Robbie into the corner. Litma trying to take it away there, but МакКлэнахэн controls. Saarniemi now freezing it along the board. 1:01.
Perfectly content with this kind of at the moment. Nothing much is happening except the clock is winding down.
61 seconds. You can overdo it as to what this really means, but nobody in their right mind would have believed it. Agreed?
This U.S. team, U.S. has done very well in Olympic competition before. It's not just 60, it's not just 80. There have been other years they've done better than their record prior to the Olympics would have been. And yet these are good players.
45 seconds remaining. Slap shot. Oh, hit the post.
And then the other post and the crossbar.
Cleared into the corner and then into the seats with 33 seconds remaining. So the Americans closing with a flourish. 4-2 the U.S. leading.
Here's a series of action. The first shot off the post. Goes back to the other side. Post out in front, now off the crossbar.
Pavlich back to Eruzione. The Americans putting all the pressure on right now. 28 seconds left in the game. Snyder is there. Ties it up, eats up a few more seconds. There's the time left. 23 seconds remaining. Who were they a week and a half ago? Morrow and Ramsey and Baker and Shelton and Broughton and Johnson and Pavlich and McCallahan and all of them. We know them all now.
A lot more about them in the coming months and the coming years, I'm sure.
23 seconds remaining in the game. The United States leading Finland 4-2. Kристian, it comes out over the blue line. Skating back with it. Killing some time now. Baker, 13 seconds. Pavlich gets there. They wave off the icing. 8 seconds to the gold medal. And the whistle here stopping the clock at 7. 7 seconds remaining in the game.
These kids apparently haven't been there before, and yet they've been there all along. They're used to the challenges of hockey in high school and college. They've been the achievers. They're the ones who've been on the All-Star teams, the All-Americans, winning the NCAA titles. And this is just another one. Certainly the toughest, but they made it.
The crowd going insane at the moment. Bedlam in here, stomping. To the gold medal, 4 to the gold medal. This impossible dream comes true. They've clinched the gold. And so appropriately, that roaring chant we've heard for a week and a half, USA, USA. Draped by the American flag.